There is something remarkable happening inside your body every single night, and most doctors simply don't have the 15 minutes it would take to walk you through it during a routine visit. While you're lying in bed, eyes closed, drifting towards sleep, your kidneys are quietly doing some of the most important work of your entire day. Picture them as your body's overnight cleaning crew, working the night shift so you can wake up refreshed. They filter your blood, they keep your blood pressure in check, and they clear away the small waste products that accumulated while you were out living your life. What you eat in that last hour or two before lights out can make a real difference in how smoothly that overnight cleanup goes. Before we get into tonight's list, if you're finding this helpful, I'd love your support in reaching a small goal of mine, getting to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. It doesn't cost anything, it takes about 2 seconds, and it genuinely helps this kind of information reach more people who need it. So if you haven't already, please tap that subscribe button before we continue. Now, back to the kidneys. Most conversations about kidney health center around subtraction. Eat less salt. Watch your potassium. Cut back on phosphorus. All of that advice is legitimate and worth following, but it only tells half the story. Nobody talks enough about what you can add to your plate to actively support your kidneys while you sleep. Tonight, I want to walk you through 8 fruits that the National Kidney Foundation has identified as being particularly kind to your kidneys. Each one offers something your body can use to fight inflammation and protect its cells, all while staying gentle enough for kidneys that aren't operating at full strength. Stick with me through all 8 because the last one comes with a detail that almost nobody mentions, and it's the kind of thing you really want to know before you take a bite. To understand why these fruits matter, it helps to understand what your kidneys are actually doing all day. I've spent more than 15 years working in medicine, and I want to take just a couple of minutes to explain this in plain language, because it makes everything else click into place. Your kidneys are 2 fist-sized organs sitting just below your rib cage, one on either side of your spine. Together, they filter something like 50 gallons of blood every day. That's roughly a full bathtub, and then some. In that process, they pull out extra fluid, remove toxins, and rebalance your blood chemistry before sending it back out to do its job everywhere else in your body. Potassium is one of the nutrients the National Kidney Foundation talks about most. Your body genuinely needs it. It helps your heart beat properly and your muscles contract the way they should. The complication arises when kidneys aren't functioning at 100%. Damaged kidneys can struggle to clear excess potassium, and when that happens, it can build up to dangerous levels. This creates a real dilemma because many of the fruits richest in protective antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, bananas, oranges, and the like, also happen to be high in potassium. So the question becomes, how do you get the protective benefits without taking on the risk? That's exactly the gap these 8 fruits fill. They deliver real nutritional support without forcing already stressed kidneys to process a heavy potassium load. Let's start with tart cherries, which might be the single best fruit to reach for before bed. According to the National Kidney Foundation, tart cherries contain a naturally occurring compound called phytomelatonin, essentially a plant-based version of the same hormone your body produces to regulate sleep. On top of that, tart cherries are naturally low in potassium, which makes them safe for the vast majority of people managing kidney concerns. Here's why the timing matters so much. Your kidneys help regulate blood pressure on a rhythm that's closely tied to sleep. Normally, blood pressure is supposed to drop while you sleep, something researchers call nocturnal dipping. When sleep is poor or disrupted, that dip doesn't happen properly, blood pressure stays elevated overnight, and that sustained pressure gradually wears down the delicate filtering structures inside your kidneys. Some research has found that the natural compounds in tart cherries can improve sleep quality by reducing inflammation and calming the stress response, and in at least one study, tart cherry juice performed comparably to common over-the-counter sleep aids in older adults. Better sleep means less overnight pressure on your kidneys, which adds up to healthier kidneys over the long run. A reasonable way to try this is about half a cup of tart cherries, or a small glass of unsweetened tart cherry juice, roughly an hour before bed. Just make sure you're choosing the sour, tart variety rather than sweet cherries, which carry considerably more potassium. Next on the list is the blueberry, a small berry that punches well above its weight for kidney health. The National Kidney Foundation notes that blueberries are rich in fiber and vitamins, while remaining low in the components kidneys typically struggle to filter, which means they're generally considered safe across most stages of kidney disease. Their deep blue-purple color comes from compounds called anthocyanins, which help calm inflammation throughout the body. That matters for your heart as much as your kidneys. Since the two organs are closely linked, anything that supports one tends to support the other. For anyone over 60 looking to protect both at once, blueberries are a simple, low-effort choice. About half a cup at night gives you meaningful benefit without adding much potassium to deal with, and they work just as well fresh, frozen, or dried. Strawberries come in third, and they might be the gentlest fruit on this entire list. They carry some of the lowest potassium levels of any fruit available, which makes them a solid option even for people managing more advanced kidney concerns. Beyond that, strawberries support your body's natural defenses against oxidative stress and contain small amounts of compounds that can help you feel calmer and more ready for sleep. A half cup of strawberries as an evening snack is an easy, low-risk way to look after both your taste buds and your kidneys. Pairing them with a bit of plain yogurt turns it into something a little more substantial if you'd like. Then there's the apple, which earns its old reputation, honestly. Apples are high in fiber and low in sodium, potassium, and phosphorus, making them one of the more universally kidney-friendly fruits out there. One detail worth remembering: leave the skin on. Most of the beneficial compounds are concentrated there rather than in the flesh. For people over 60 who are watching their blood sugar, the fiber in a whole apple slows down sugar absorption, which helps prevent the spikes and crashes that make life harder for your kidneys overnight. Apples also contain malic acid, which helps keep urine chemistry balanced in a way that can lower the risk of the most common kidney stones. One medium apple, skin on, as part of your evening routine is plenty. A light dusting of cinnamon on top can offer an extra nudge for blood sugar stability if you enjoy the flavor. Grapes are the fifth fruit, and they tend to surprise people. Red and purple grapes in particular contain resveratrol, concentrated in the skin, which supports healthy blood flow and helps reduce clotting risk. That's especially relevant for anyone managing kidney concerns alongside cardiovascular health, since the two so often go hand in hand. There's also a practical trick here for anyone limiting fluid intake, which can be a genuine daily challenge. Freezing grapes and eating them slowly gives you something cool and satisfying that curbs thirst without adding much liquid volume. A small handful of frozen or fresh red grapes before bed makes for a refreshing, kidney-conscious treat. Sixth is the raspberry, which stands out for having more fiber than almost any other common fruit. Fiber's relevance to kidney health comes down to gut bacteria. A well-fed, healthy gut microbiome helps lower inflammation throughout the entire body, and lower systemic inflammation tends to translate into better kidney function over time. Fiber also plays a role in limiting how much phosphorus your body absorbs from a meal, which is one of the more persistent challenges for anyone managing kidney disease. Working a small handful of raspberries into your evening is a simple way to support that balance. The seventh fruit is pineapple, valued here for a natural enzyme called bromelain, known for its anti-inflammatory properties. Since long-term inflammation is often at the root of kidney trouble, even a modest serving of pineapple can be a helpful addition. It also provides some of the building blocks your body uses to produce its own sleep hormone, which can support winding down at night. Fresh pineapple is the better choice here. Canned pineapple goes through a heating process that can break down much of the bromelain. A few chunks of fresh pineapple make for a light, refreshing nighttime snack. Finally, the eighth fruit is the cranberry, and this one comes with an important caveat. Cranberries have long been associated with bladder and urinary tract health, and there's some truth to that. They may help reduce the risk of certain infections, but they cannot treat an infection you already have. So if you're experiencing symptoms or pain, please see a doctor rather than relying on cranberries alone. The bigger issue is that most commercial cranberry products, juices, dried snacks, sweetened blends, are loaded with added sugar, and sugar is genuinely hard on your kidneys. If you want the benefit cranberries can offer, you need the unsweetened version. Pure, unsweetened cranberry juice is quite tart, but it's the version that actually delivers the benefit without the downside. One more note. If you take blood thinners, check with your pharmacist before making cranberries a regular habit, since they can interact. A simple way to put several of these together is what I call a kidney bedtime bowl. Take a small bowl, add a few tart cherries, a handful of blueberries, and some sliced strawberries. That combination touches all three benefits at once: support for sleep, support for your heart, and support for your kidneys, while staying gentle on your system the whole way through. It's an easy, low-effort routine that doesn't ask much of you. It's worth saying clearly, everyone's situation is different. If your kidney function is more significantly affected, please talk with your doctor or with a renal dietitian who can help you work out exactly how much of these fruits makes sense for your specific case. And if you're over 60 and haven't had your kidney function checked recently, it's worth asking your doctor for a simple blood test. Knowing your actual numbers is the only real way to make informed choices about your diet. I want to share a quick story about a woman I'll call Carol, who was 72 and living with early-stage kidney disease. She was so worried about doing something wrong that she cut almost all fruit out of her diet entirely. Over time, she grew tired and started sleeping poorly. When we sat down and looked closely at what she was eating, it became clear she'd accidentally removed the very things that could have been helping her. We gradually reintroduced kidney-friendly fruits, tart cherries, blueberries, a few others from this list, in sensible amounts. Within about 6 weeks, her sleep had noticeably improved, and her health markers held steady the whole time. She was thrilled to have flavor and variety back in her life again. It felt less like restriction and more like she was actively adding something good to her routine, rather than just taking things away. None of this is meant to replace guidance from your own medical team. Think of it as a starting point for a conversation with your doctor, not a substitute for one. If tonight's list gives you an idea, try putting together a small bowl with 2 or 3 of these fruits and see how it feels. And if you do, I'd genuinely love to hear about it. Let me know in the comments which fruits you're planning to try. If this kind of information is useful to you, subscribing really does help more than you'd think. It's a small action on your end that makes a real difference for a channel working toward its first 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for spending this time with me tonight and for taking gentle, thoughtful care of your body. I'll see you in the next one, where we'll get into some everyday drinks that might be quietly affecting your kidney health without you realizing it. Take care of yourself.